Hey, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to another video. You guessed it, this is a remake video. The original upload, after rewatching it several times, I felt like I didn't do that discussion topic justice. Like I didn't hit it hard enough, so I figured I'd scrap that video completely and redo it for you guys and go more in depth. So today I'm going to be talking about the main problem with the 2015 and newer Subaru WRXs. The main problem is the engine itself. So if you guys aren't already aware, starting in 2015 with the new sedan models, they introduced a new engine platform called the FA20 direct injected engine. So this is a twin-scrolled turbocharged vehicle, and it is amazing. It makes 268 horsepower, and it has really good MPG. It rates at 21 city, 28 freeway, and overall in my almost 2 months of ownership now, I've been averaging 30 to 35 because I've been babying this car, and I rarely use boost. I only use boost when I'm going onto or leaving the freeway. But this is an amazing engine, and you know, I can praise it any more than what it already provides for me. However, there is one major drawback to that, and that is carbon buildup. With everything good, there's always a bad side to it, and this engine has that big problem: carbon buildup. Now, I'm not going to go into full detail as to why or how it works, because to be honest, I don't really know it myself, but I will put a link down below to Savage Geese, who is a guy who I follow on YouTube, and he did a really wonderful job explaining what the problem of direct injected engines do and how it works and how to prevent it. So check down below if you guys have time, go and check it out. But in this video, I'm just gonna go through the discussion topic really quickly and give you guys my input. So the biggest problem with this engine is the carbon buildup. With the way direct injected engines work, there's no way for the carbon to pretty much clean itself or to escape the engine, and so all of that gunk pretty much gets stuck inside. And I think that's the reference point I was trying to make in the previous video, is about health. Like, this engine is essentially the heart of the car, and you want the lungs to be healthy. And in order for you to do that, you need to keep this engine in tip-top shape and do the maintenance. That's what I was trying to push at. And so you're probably asking yourself, okay, Tom, so the biggest problem with this engine is the carbon buildup. How or when do I know when I need to clean this this engine up? So to be honest, no one knows. It's a matter of how you drive and gauging at it, right? So the guesstimate that most people have accepted is every 30k miles, you take this engine in for a walnut shell blasting. When I first heard it, it sounded like a joke. I thought people were kind of just pulling my chains, but it was for real. They're like, hey, look, if you find a vendor who's willing to clean your engine for you, this is what the process is. It's going to cost you somewhere from $400 to $600, give or take. And you know, they're gonna pretty much shoot walnut shells into your valves and everything and clean up all that carbon buildup. And like I said, it sounded like a joke at first, but they were being very serious about it. So looking into the matter and watching Savage Geese's video, I was like, oh man, that kind of sucks. That, you know, the big problem with this engine, I thought there was all these pluses to it, but there is one major drawback, and it is that carbon buildup. Now, moving on to how do you prevent it? Like, what are the signs and what are the consequences of it? The consequences of the carbon buildup is essentially like tar and gunk inside your lungs, right? You can't breathe that easily, and so because of that, this engine, if it can't breathe well, you'll have a loss in horsepower and you'll have a loss in MPG. So everything that this engine prides itself in, you know, it is counterintuitive to that. And so how you prevent that is, of course, guys, there's two options. You take this car and take this engine to a vendor every 30k miles and you do a walnut shell blasting to clean up the valves, or you install an oil catch can. The oil catch can doesn't necessarily prevent it, but it hinders and mitigates the overall process of it. So it takes quite a lot longer for the carbon to build up, because with the way the oil catch can works is it filters the oil, and so you check it, you know, occasionally, and so you get to dump out all of the bad and gunky oil, and all of the clean oil will keep being recycled back into the engine. So it'll stall the process. There's no way to escape this, and unfortunately it's just the way it is for this particular vehicle with direct injected vehicles. And so those are your two options, is you either spend like $300 to $400 on a Mishimoto oil catch can. That's what I was looking at. And or you pay the fee every 30 to 40k miles, and you clean the valves of the engine. And so, like I said, it is unfortunate. I do not like that fact. Now, as an owner, this is one of the major drawbacks and one of the major flaws that I don't like about this engine. But because I'm an owner now, I have to live with it, and I have to be extra careful as to maintaining this vehicle very properly, so that way I don't suffer from any of the MPG loss, any of the horsepower loss, and all of the negative aspects of owning a direct injected vehicle. Now, because we're on this discussion topic, I also want to move to a personal opinion that I'd like to share with you guys. In the 2015 and newer WRXs, they're using the FA20 engine, and in the STIs, they're still using the same EJ motor. I think it's an EJ257 if I'm not mistaken. But you know, this engine has lost its rumble, so it is no longer have that, you know, iconic Subaru rumble. It's actually very, very timid and very quiet now. It's very mature. I personally like it because it means less attention for me, and especially when I drive by cops, I don't have them breaking their necks, looking at me, and trying to give a reason to pull me over. So that's good for me. It's just personally for me. A lot of people dislike that fact, and they want the rumble back. But, you know, because manufacturers have their hands tied when it comes to regulations that they have to meet, this is the route that they're taking. And so my projection to the future, especially with STIs, is I feel like they're going to hop onto an FA platform as well. Maybe not now, maybe in the near future. But if you guys take a look at the brand new 2019 Accent, it's essentially a 9-seater Tahoe Subaru vehicle. It's the biggest one yet, and they have a 2.4 liter FA 2.4 motor in that. It's turbocharged as well, and I'm like, okay, that gave me an idea. That I was like, I knew I was onto something. Like, I think the new WRX STI engines are going to be just that. It's either going to be that specific engine, an FA 2.4 liter, or maybe an FA 2.5 liter, and they're going to use a twin scroll turbo. The same concept as what's existing here. And I feel like they use the WRX as a guinea pig to kind of gauge at the possibilities and gauge at how this engine will operate. And, you know, so far so good. I think in the 3 years since the new WRX platform has launched, it has been doing very, very well. Overall, there's not that many people complaining about engine problems. Like, there's no knocks, there's no really big issues. Like, the only issues that you really encounter are people who are modding their vehicle poorly and pretty much destroying their own vehicle because of their own accord, right? It's not necessarily the engine. I think for the most part, many of the people who have their cars stock aren't running into any issues, and I think that's a big, big green flag for them to say, hey, look, I think for the STIs, we should move on to this platform. Maybe make it a FA 2.4 liter or an FA 2.5 liter. Who knows? But I think that's my projection. That's where I think Subaru is going, especially when they're, you know, pushing at being the safest brand on the road, and also, you know, flagshipping their WRX STI platform into a new generation. So yeah, now I felt like I made this video more proper and more direct to you guys, and I felt like I actually hit the target of what I wanted to to discuss. Is that essentially this FA motor has one major drawback, and it is the carbon buildup. And essentially it is the health of this engine and this car that you need to keep at as a top priority and constantly check on to make sure that this car is able to breathe well and proper, and also do the proper maintenance to it, so that way you can upkeep the vehicle and make sure that it's running and operating as effectively as it should be. So I hope you guys like this video. Please give this video a thumbs up, like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. And of course guys, don't forget to subscribe